So I'm Syncope, and I am here to teach you a thing. That thing being why furries aren't actually terrible. For those of you that either live under a rock or you're too young to know what a furry is, they are a subculture of people who like anthropomorphic animals. Anthropomorphic meaning they have human like features such as complex personalities and emotions. They can like walk on two legs and talk. Some of them like have clothing and stuff they wear, outfits, etc. Anyways, so number one, fairies are pretty open and like welcoming. This is just like my personal experience. I've yet to actually meet one that's really rude. I've heard stories of some that are like really, really rude and some that can be extremely anal about their characters and everything, but like I said, this is my personal experience. Like, I went to Anthrocon this past summer, and let me tell you, the people there were so nice, both the workers and the attendees. Like, I've been to other conventions and Comic Cons and stuff like that, and not a single one can match the friendly vibe of Anthrocon. Like, there were like even kids and like toddlers there, and like the furries were just like running around, playing with the kids, just overall having a really good time, making the kids experience like even better too, you know. Like the furry community in general is actually known to be like altruistic and actually insanely accepting of different people and stuff, but like, you know, nobody really acknowledges that. Yeah. Well, number two, the community as a whole is very creative and artistic. Like, have you ever seen a fursuit? 9 times out of 10, those things are handmade and custom fitted. That takes like so much skill, time, and money. Like, pretty much like a yard of really good, like fake fur fabric, like from Joann's or something like that, is about $40. So just imagine that, like, times the size of a human being plus like extra things like a tail and ears and all that. And as someone who sews, it's not always easy to custom fit things to people. Like, if you're someone who's curvier or you got a belly, it's a little hard sometimes to get things fitted perfectly. But I mean, like, it's doable. It's just a little bit hard sometimes. But anyways, the fursuit is typically like, you know, based off an image or a description of someone's persona. And, you know, the Fursona, that's like obviously original work. That's somebody's original character. And like half the time, the person draws the Fursona themselves. So not only is it something that they create in their mind, they can physically like draw it out and everything. But if they don't draw it themselves, they usually commission someone else to draw it, or like they'll buy an adoptable that's really similar to what they have in mind. An adoptable, by the way, is an original character of some kind that people can buy and therefore own the rights to that said character. Like, pretty much if you just Google like adoptables or like look it up on DeviantArt or the Cursed Fur Affinity, you'll be able to find like thousands of adoptables. But anyways, furries are known to commission like a ton of art. So besides having their fursuits made, they're helping all kinds of other artists stay afloat and keep the starving out of starving artists. It's only been like the past 2 years or so that I started doing stuff to make money off my art, and I would say I've made close to about like 2,000, like more or less, on primarily just furry stuff alone. I mean, of course, 2,000 isn't much for 2 years. Like, that isn't even enough for a single year. Like, that honestly is barely even enough to cover an entire month. But I mean, like, I was just doing occasional side work and everything, like every once in a blue moon. So I mean, like, that's good enough for me right now, you know? Like, I would love to get more business, but it'll happen eventually. Anyways, number three, about 75% of furries are actually educated, having post-secondary education, or are currently working towards it. The main furries The main fields furries tend to work in, though, are art, computers, and science. So, like, they're not stupid. They're not lazy basement dwellers as people typically perceive them as. Furries do have a drive to better themselves, even though they get a lot of crap and judgment over their hobby. Speaking of hobbies, number 4. The furry community isn't purely sexual. It's a very diverse community with tons of different interests. Of course, there are people that are into the sexual side of it, but what does it matter if they're not hurting animals or children in the process? Like, most furries are like normal people and condemn pedophilia and bestiality and stuff. And, like, there's hundreds of different types of fursonas, personalities, art forms, additional hobbies, and interests in the furry community. For example, a good portion of furries are also known to like gaming and anime and be a part of those communities as well, just like anybody else would be. And now for the big question, am I a furry? I honestly don't know. I don't really go out of my way to be a part of the fandom much, but I do really enjoy seeing and like learning about people's personas. Like, but I'm like that with pretty much anything that's considered like an original character. Like, I love seeing other things that people create. Like, it just gets me really, really hyped and motivated and inspired and everything. Then I want to get them hyped and motivated and inspired and everything too. So they like develop their characters more, do stuff with them, and yeah, etc. But I do like a lot of the cutesy art the fandom has to offer, and I've loved the people that I've met in the community. I don't really draw many anthro or furry characters unless it's like commission work, but I still occasionally do draw my own. So I mean, like, I guess I kinda am one? Maybe? But anyways, furries aren't terrible. A lot are actually really nice and just misjudged. I don't see the point in hating on someone for enjoying their hobby as long as it's not hurting anyone. Like, where are you getting all this energy to be negative from? Like, how are you not getting exhausted from this? Like, what is your drive? Why do you need to be like this? But yeah, anyways, again, I'm Syncope. If you enjoyed my video, please leave a like, subscribe, and if you're feeling jaunty enough to leave a comment, please do so. If you want to keep up with me, totally hit up that notification bell thing. Feel free to follow me on social media and check out my Patreon. All links are in the description. Thanks a bunch. Bye!